my name is Lorraine Garvey of District 32, and I'm super excited about the conversation that I'm just about to have with Dr. Jenny Brockis. How are you, Jenny?
I'm really well, thanks, Lorraine. Really good.
And it must be nice to be able to say that. I'm really well and mean it. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, today we are talking about burnout. What it is, how did you get to be talking about it, why are you specialising in it? Now, we're talking about that today because you're going to speak for the District 32 ladies in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
But and I was also just sharing with you that I was talking about you speaking this morning at an event, and your reputation far precedes you, because there were several people in the room who could testify who you were, the quality of your keynote, and about you being just a real professional that they admired. So hello, Jenny. Can you please let us know, you are a doctor, did you go, where's the transition from doctor to helping people manage burnout? I mean, I can imagine, but do you want to just tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. As a health professional, or as a GP, I was highly driven, highly motivated to always be of service, to always look after other people. That was my mojo. That's what got me out of bed in the morning. But not so good at remembering to take my own medicine, to look after myself. And even though I had a thriving practice, lots of support, wonderful husband, children, all the rest of it, I wasn't taking care of my own health and well-being. And fundamentally, I burned out, as in completely, as in wasn't able to get out of bed, as in lost my business.
Wow.
Which wasn't on the vision board.
No, I can imagine.
And it was accompanied by a sense of deep shame, deep guilt, because I felt I'd let everybody down, including myself. So I sort of disappeared under a rock and hid for a long time while I recovered. And that took me 12 months to fully recover. And everybody's different when they have burnout. Some people, it's relatively short-lived. Some people, it can take years. Some people smolder along, having burnout for a prolonged period of time. So everybody has their own unique experience. And mine was a catalyst, if you like, to really get me to reflect on who I was and what I really wanted to get out of my career. And I didn't want to go back into general practice because I knew I'd probably end up burning out again. And I didn't want to repeat that process. Definitely not to be recommended. So I looked around me and thought, actually, a lot of the people I was looking after when they came to see me were people who were sick as a consequence of how they were going about their work. Highly stressed, often mentally distressed as well. I mean, people with anxiety and depression and all the other sort of mood disorders. And some were burning out too. And I thought, what is it that we've bought into as a society that is leading so many of us down this path? It just doesn't make sense when we've got so much going for us that we're getting sicker and sadder. So I decided to step into a sort of consultancy, which I created my own sort of business, to talk to people principally in the workplace about how we can make work better for everybody. And I think it's important to recognize who particularly is at risk. And I think it's when it's your own business or you're an entrepreneur, success matters to us. We want to succeed. And sometimes we lose sight of the stop signs, which are telling us, actually, you just need to step back a little bit. Not to stop, but just to step back and reassess how you're doing. So that's why I ended up doing what I do today.
It's always much better when it's accompanied by a personal story. It gives you the stripes of credibility in order to teach us, we walk the walk. And you spoke there around burnout and some people going in ebbs and flows in a little while. I've often heard people say, you never recover from burnout. You never quite recover. It knocks the edge off something. And I'm sure that's just their perspective. But I've always been wary, since then.
Yeah.
But I was really excited to invite you to speak for us, just because as entrepreneurs and as business owners, just as you said there, there is a drive, there is an ambition. Sometimes we forget that being alive is it. This is the magic, being alive. It's not about the achievement and the success and the enormous pressure that we put ourselves under. And I thought it would be great, for you to share with us, what are the signs, what do we do? So what's the information you're going to share with us, Jenny, on the day, without giving away all your...
Without giving away all the secrets.
Yeah.
I think it's just about recognizing that we're all potentially at risk, because we're all human and we all have limits. So it's about that self-awareness piece of what are your limits? What boundaries do you need to put around to keep yourself safe, and to keep others around you safe as well? Because it's one thing to be very driven yourself, but if we're sort of responsible for other people in our work sphere, our own employees or our staff or whoever, we have a duty of care to them as well. And I think sometimes it's hard for us to see that they don't have our same big picture vision. I mean, they're there because they've got a work to do, they like working for you, etc., etc., etc. But we sometimes impose our own expectations on them, and that could put them at risk. So I think it's about working out boundaries, expectations, and limitations around ourselves. And it's about remembering too that work is not the be-all and end-all of why we were here on this planet. Because we tend to think about ourselves and identify ourselves by what we do in our paid work. Whereas, we're a multitude of different occupations. We're parents, we're spouses, we're friends. We need to sort of remember what actually matters to us and how can we get more pleasure and joy out of that paid occupation. And I think sometimes people look at me a bit askance and say, well, you're talking about being happy at work. And I say, absolutely. I love my work. I love what I do. And I'm very, very happy that I am happy about it. But a lot of people are not happy, or they've ended up in a situation where they feel a bit stuck and don't know quite what to do. So I'll be talking about how to get unstuck and move ourselves forward.
Well, beautiful. And again, I think that is, it's such a key topic. And because I'm talking to business owners and entrepreneurs all the time, and often what you hear is, I'm probably not living down my passion or what I'm purpose, my purpose, or having joy, but I've got the kids to put in private school and I've got this holiday to pay.
Yeah.
I'm willing to sacrifice me, my happiness and my joy for this one. Sometimes we don't have to forfeit one for the other.
No.
There are ways of bending our thinking and just looking at things from a different point of view and I just think that's so important, because we can sometimes become so rigid in our thinking.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's very true. But I do think that the life experience that we've all had for the last 3 years or so, living through a time of global pandemic, has helped many people that I've been speaking with to shift that mindset, to take that step back and reconsider, is this what I really want? Is this sustainable? Because we can all step up and do more when it's needed. But I think sometimes we forget that that's meant to be a short-term strategy. Working at 150% long-term is never a good place to be. It's not good for us. It's certainly not good for our relationships. And it's actually not very good for our businesses either. So it's about sort of putting it all back into perspective and lightening up a little bit.
Wow. I'm sure it's not just me that's super excited. Jenny, the word is getting around. We're asking for a friend, coming along. So Jenny, I'm really excited to learn all about it. I'm really happy that you are sharing this information with me. I know you work a lot with teams.
Yes.
And helping, managers and teams and organizations. You work with C-suite executives, as well as the entrepreneur. You're spreading your love far and wide. Just before we go, do you feel as if people are more and more receptive?
Definitely.
bringing the balance back and like a holistic point of view.
Yes. And I think we're getting better at talking about the fact that, you know, we're not superhuman. We've been wearing these superhero capes for too long, and let's get back to doing what we can do really well, but without the super qualities that we try to instill in ourselves too often.
Jenny, thank you very much for sharing your time with me today. I really look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. And yeah, thank you for the work you're doing.
My pleasure. Look forward to seeing you on the 6th of July.
Will do, Jenny. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.